Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with a Side of Economics. This week we join Dr. Shankar Ghamiri for a sobering look at global poverty. He also provides some interesting questions that pose some food for thought as you go through your week.
I would like to share some numbers with you today. There are 7.5 billion people that live in this world, and over 4 billion people live in the developing countries, and 3 billion of those people live in incomes that are under $2 a day. 3 billion people have no access to sanitation. 1.3 billion people have no access to clean water. 1.1 billion people have no proper housing. 1 billion have no access to modern health services. And about 1/4 billion, or about 260 million children are out of school. According to the UN data, there are 30,000 children that die each day out of poverty, which is about 210,000 children each week, or just under 11 million children every year. These are some striking numbers when we think of the issue of global poverty. And to solve these problems, developed countries and international donor agencies pour billions of dollars into developing countries to solve these problems, which we call foreign aid. But there is no one model that solves all problems, because the issue of poverty, or when we say poverty, it is the lack of basic necessities such as food and water, shelter, education, medical care, security, etc. So this is a multidimensional issue and exceeds all social, economic, political boundaries. As such, efforts to alleviate poverty must be based on a variety of different factors. When it comes to foreign aid, we need to ask if the assistance that the developing countries are receiving is in fact used effectively. We need to think of the factors that make them more effective. Is it the proper monitoring from the developed countries that would make it more effective? Or is it the proper rules and regulations and policies that the developing countries have to come up with that would make the assistance or the foreign aid more effective? Or is it the proper mediation from the multilateral agencies, such as the UN and the World Bank and World Trade Organization, IMF? What would work and what would not work? What are the different factors that make them more effective? These are some of the issues we cover in two of my courses I teach here at Western. Econ 351, called Global Poverty, and Econ 420, Development Economics.
That concludes this week's session of Coffee with a Side of Economics. Next week we talk with Dr. Sadler about local food networks.